Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by Desk.com, the all-in-one customer support app for fast-growing companies. Visit Desk.com/TWiST to get your service desk up and running today for as low as $3 per month. And by Wistia. Take control of your video marketing with powerful tools and analytics built specifically for business. Go to Wistia.com/TWiST to get your free Wistia account today. And by AWS Activate. It's easy to start and scale your business with Amazon Web Services. Check out free resources like one-on-one office hours with AWS Solutions Architects and much more. Learn more and sign up at aws.amazon.com/activate.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Calacanis, and this is This Week in Startups, our news roundtable edition. Liz Gaines from Recode and James Altucher are both with me today to discuss a lot of news that's going on in the space. Firefox's CEO has resigned amid Prop 8 controversy. The Amazon Fire $99 Apple TV competitor is out. Lyft and Imgur have raised oodles and oodles of cash. There's just a ton going on. Rabois is going to leave Khosla and do some real estate venture. It's a big news week, and we're going to talk about it all right now, right here on This Week in Startups. Stick around.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Calacanis, and this is This Week in Startups, the podcast, internet TV show I've been hosting for 5 years. 5 years. And this is episode number 400 and something or other. And I love doing the show. Why do I love doing the show? Because technology, innovation, entrepreneurship, it's all moving at such a great pace. And every week I get to have super intelligent people on the program. Sometimes they're the founders of the companies. Sometimes they're the investors in the companies. Sometimes they're journalists and analysts. Sometimes they're all three. There's a lot of these journalists who are jumping ship and becoming VCs, or journalists who are becoming founders. Anyway, today will be no difference. I have two long-term contributors to This Week in Startups on the program. James Altucher is with us again. James, how are you doing?
Great, Jason. Thanks for having me on the show.
Very good. And also Liz Gaines from Recode, formerly All Things Digital, is on the program again. Liz, how are you?
I'm good. You're wow, pretty fuzzy, though.
Look at that scary dog over your right shoulder. And you got the
yes, this is my guardian angel, right? Well, who's on your left shoulder? Is that the devil or the
left,
angel?
Yeah. And then you have the All Things D memorial I see on the other shoulder.
Oh, yes. From one of those reality cake shows. They made a cake for our conference.
Oh, really?
It's kind of falling apart, though.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. All right, let's get right into the news. There's a lot going on. Big raises. Lyft raised $250 million. They plan to expand to New York and outside of the U.S. They raised it from a hedge fund manager. I think it's Coatue is how you pronounce that, and I know Dan Loeb's. Coatue is how you pronounce it? Yeah, Coatue, yeah. Which has oodles of money. Dan Loeb's Third Point, and Alibaba. Last raise was $60 million from Andreessen Horowitz back in May of 2013. Total funding $333. Surpasses slightly Uber's $307 million. Full disclosure, I'm an angel investor in Uber. Yes. And Liz wrote the story for Recode. Meanwhile, Grubhub IPO today with a market cap of a couple billion. So the on-demand economy is rocking. What does this mean, Liz, for Lyft and the battle with Uber, since you can independently speak of those things?
Well, this battle is taking money. Now Lyft has more of it. Uber has been very aggressive about bringing down their prices, and Lyft was, at least in the market I'm most familiar with in San Francisco, struggling because of that. So now they have more money to compete.
So this is absolutely essential to compete with Uber. Now, what's the number of, I don't know what the latest number of cities is for each of these, but Lyft is only in a few cities, right?
Uber's in much more. I forget what this. I would, if I had to guess, I'd say double. Lyft, I think, is in 30. Uber in 60, something like that. But Uber is expanding much more rapidly. Lyft co-founder John Zimmer told me this week that it takes at least a couple $100,000 to launch a new city, and in a case like New York, it would be a lot more than that. So it's just a capital-intensive business, especially when there's so much competition.
Wow, only a couple of $100,000. I think it's $1 million plus to launch a city correctly, but who knows? I guess that's the efficiency of some of these services, isn't it, James? That once you get it right in one city, you can kind of roll it out and have a model?
I don't know. I mean, in every city, there's different regulatory issues. So I imagine the lobbying and legal costs run you about $100,000, particularly or more in a city like New York City. So it doesn't surprise me they need that much it doesn't surprise me that they're going to need up to $1 million or more to launch. So I don't believe only a few $100,000 per city.
5 years from now, what will the footprint of Uber and Lyft look like, do you think, Liz?
I think they'll be everywhere with population density. I don't know that they're going to stretch into markets where there's nobody around. It still takes time to drive from point A to point B.
So if Uber has 70 cities right now, could it be 700, 7,000? What are your thoughts?
I think it could be a lot more, but I think they'll also probably diversify into other things than just giving people rides around town. They'll also start doing delivery. They've kind of indicated that. I'm sure you know about that as an investor.
Actually, I try not to know anything. I'm just God's honest truth. Because I have a show and I have a Twitter handle and I write email, I actually don't ask. I tell companies like that, don't tell me anything because I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm the source. Well, I mean, what do I need to know about Uber? It's a rocket ship. I put money in the first round, and then it's going to, at some point, that will materialize into big money. You can see I'm thrilled. What do I need to know about it? The details. Travis has got it on lockdown. I don't need to know anything. I honestly don't.
It's definitely true. They're definitely looking into delivery services right now, and I'm sure that's something they're going to be looking into, particularly starting off in San Francisco.
Now, what would that do to the market, do you think, Liz? Because you have a bunch of new services doing food in San Francisco. Like there's one that drives around with like only a choice of 3 or 4 meals. I forgot the name of it.
Spoon Rocket.
Yeah, there's one that I think it might be the same one you're talking about called Sprig that I just used for the first time last week.
There's Sprig and there's Spoon Rocket in San Francisco.
Yeah, Sprig and Spoon Rocket.
But that's right. They're similar. Yes. I was surprised at how great the experience was with Sprig. But I mean, living in San Francisco.
You did it? You did Sprig? And tell us about the experience.
I did it. I liked it so much. I did it this like 2 nights later. I did it again. It's $10 a meal. It's healthy 3-part meal, like meat, vegetable, starch kind of thing. It shows up within like 15 minutes, and delivery costs $2 for as many as you order. So it worked remarkably well, but I have no idea if my experience with these things is reflective of anything because I live in like a very easily accessible neighborhood of San Francisco that's served by companies that have way too much venture capital funding. So I know that Sprig works everywhere else, but I love it for me.
So Sprig was $12 total for your meal. And did will they deliver just one meal?
Yep, they'll deliver just one meal. And unlike Grubhub, which in the instructions I always say, call me, don't ring the doorbell, Sprig actually listened to the directions. So I was much happier. I'm probably not going to use Grubhub anymore. I've
used Grubhub, but the interface is absolutely horrible. How could that be such a huge service and be such a terrible app? I hate it. Oh, but I use it sometimes because it's convenient not to talk to people on the phone.
It's not the worst thing ever. But yeah, it's a couple years old.
Now that means that Sprig has the food in the car already, so they must load up some number.
They only service like 5 zip codes or something. So, like I said, I don't think this is like a scaled business in any way.
So,
I think both these companies have a catering service that makes their food. The cars, and it's all logistics software. So the cars know when to pick up the meals, and they guarantee 6 to 15 minutes delivery.
So to do 6 to 15-minute deliveries, that means they must be loading, 10 of each entree onto the car, keeping them. Did it come warm?
It came warm, and both times I noticed that the person who delivered it at my door, it was the last thing they took out of their bag. So it wasn't like they had a stack of these things and they were just handing one to me.
I got to think that to do that delivery time, they must load up the truck on the hour with a bunch of warm meals and then just drop it off to you, which I guess a meal could stay in a warm tray for a little while. I don't think it's obviously not made to order. They're saving 15 or 30 minutes somewhere. Maybe they're microwaving it in the car. Does anybody know? Gina,
I don't know if they're microwaving in the car. I'm going to say they're not.
Yeah. Producer Gina, see if you can figure that out while we're talking on the show.
But, food is only the beginning of it. Like, they're going to start delivering, all of these services, Uber, Sprig, whatever, they're going to start delivering, more and more. The hard part is the logistics software.
Yeah, I think that's probably that. Actually, that I know that is their main focus at Uber, is like the logistics of putting cars in different places. Like they have a lot of data scientists over there doing specifically that. Like, hey, we know on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. for some reason there's 12 Ubers ordered from this building. You know, some staff meeting gets out or whatever, a class. But with this food stuff. What does this do to like Postmates? Because we had Postmates on the show. Obviously, it's a pretty cool service. And when I'm obviously moving up to San Francisco, as people know, and I've been spending more time up there, I use Postmates a bunch. But it's incredibly expensive. You have to pay like a delivery charge, then a tip. It winds up being like $15, $20 on top of the $40. So on a percentage basis, it's kind of expensive, isn't it, Liz?
It is, yeah, and it's interesting to see that all these things are being experimented with at the same time. In the case of Sprig, it works better. Bye, guys.
All right. So moving on to our next big mega round. It feels like it's 19. Go ahead.
Jason, I wanted to mention something. The fact that Third Point is investing in Lyft sort of disturbs me, because this is what reminds me actually of 1999, when finally New York City woke up to what was happening on the internet, and suddenly you had Henry Kravis investing all over the place and losing all his money. Yeah. So the fact that Dan Loeb is now investing smells a little bit like that to me.
Yeah, but he invests in other internet companies. He invested in Yahoo most recently, eBay, et cetera.
No, well, he invested as a stock value investor there. Here he's investing as like a VC almost. It was a totally different investment premise.
It is something to that, but Dan Loeb, as an exception, is hyper involved in the internet industry. In fact, like you'll see him at the All Things D conference, or now the Recode conference. He was there all the time. So I do agree that when you see that late stage private equity money dipping down, it could be a sign that they're just greedy Wall Street types. But he's kind of an exception, because he kind of knows the tech business. But that is a little bit of a red flag, I'll agree. In other massive...
And it's not just them. The other Mr. Coatue as well just started investing in internet companies. So Lyft is not their first. They did Snapchat as well.
Yeah, I just had lunch with those guys over at the Battery. Am I allowed to even say that on the show, that I had lunch with somebody at the Battery? Because there's no social media there. I got to ask Michael Birch, but I'm just dropping two names there. Yeah, I saw those. What is it called? I should know. I had lunch with the guys. Coatue. Coatue is some huge
like
hedge
fund. But Coatue.
And what's the story with them? Do you guys know them? What's the story with those folks?
Yeah, they're longtime New York hedge fund people. They just opened office in Menlo Park. They were downstairs from Andreessen Horowitz, but they got bigger, so now they're across the courtyard. So they're right in there. They're trying to be the new, late-stage savvy tech investor. There's been a few of those that have come through, like
Yuri Milner.
Yuri Milner was the first one for this kind of batch of companies, but then like when Twitter went public, who was the guy who owned like 15% of it because he bought mostly employee shares?
Chris Sacca.
No, it was Chris Sacca's partner investor whose name just went out of my head. Travers is his Risky Travers, I think it is.
Yeah.
And they just bought it up, and no one had heard of this guy, but suddenly you own 15% of Twitter.
And this is kind of why the stock market doesn't get the huge gains that it used to get, James, correct? So we used to have these like 9 times, 5 times returns in the first day an IPO would come out. These people are coming in and arbitraging that out of the market, correct, James?
Well, I don't know. I think also you don't have as many retail investors in the stock market now. Like back in 1999, maybe 80% of people who had money in the bank were in the stock market. Now it's about 50%. So until you get retail back in the stock market, you still won't see that bump in IPOs that you used to see.
All right. When we get back from the commercial break, I will give you the answer to that pressing question about Imgur. I'm sorry, not Imgur. We'll talk about the Imgur raise and why Andreessen Horowitz is putting $40 million into that. But we'll give you the answer to how Spoon Rocket gets warm food to Liz Gaines in 6 minutes. Hey, listen, thanks to my friends at Wistia for producing an awesome video player that we're using now at This Week in Startups. Video is super important. As everybody knows, it's the future. It's the growing category on the web. But if you give all your videos to, let's say, a big portal like YouTube, where I do publish This Week in Startups, you lose all these opportunities to customize it. And they take all your users, right? So when you subscribe on YouTube, they take that subscription, they mask it from you, and you have no way to reach those people. But when you have Wistia and you send people now to thisweekinstartups.com with the Wistia player. We ripped out the YouTube one because we can ask for their email address in the video, 30 minutes into the video, and we get very granular stats. So when you look, and here, I'll just pull it up here, I can see that people are watching little segments of the show, right? They'll go in and they come back. I can see people watched a second portion of the show. So I can see all these folks, and I don't want to pull up the email tab, but every week, dozens and dozens of people start giving us their email addresses. And that's one of the great reasons to use Wistia. Also, the player doesn't have all the YouTube branding on it. And you know what YouTube does? You put that player on your site, they suck all the traffic off of there. And believe me, they have these people over there who do A/B testing and figure out exactly how to take the traffic off your website and suck it back to this. Now, Wistia did not ask me to include the YouTube comparison in this promotion. I'm telling you, this is how I, independently, Jason Calacanis, came to this decision. It's not that I don't love YouTube. YouTube's fine. I spend a lot of time watching YouTube. But this is a goddamn business over here, okay? I need to make money to keep the lights on here. I need to send headsets to people. I need to pay producers. I need to buy lights, cameras, microphones, the whole bit. It's show business, okay? It costs money to do on a sustainable basis. And I'm not giving my consumers, my customers, my loyal fans to some third party. That's why I use Wistia. All right, there you go. Go to get a Wistia account today, wistia.com/twist. No credit card required. First 5 videos are free. Thanks to our friends at Wistia. And if you love the program, go ahead and say thank you at Wistia, W-I-S-T-I-A, for supporting This Week in Startups. Okay. So producer Gina looked it up. It turns out, producer Gina, you have your microphone set up yet? I want to have you on air sometimes. Okay, no. Next show, please. That delivery service Spoon Rocket has the food in the car already. So Liz, you ate food that was probably an hour old. But was it good? What did you order? Chicken? Fish? What was it?
I ordered a few different things. The first time one meal was steak, and my husband had the mushroom goat cheese tartlet thing. That was delicious.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's good stuff.
And for $10,
I don't know why I'm telling you what I ate for dinner.
No, it's good because this is what people want to hear. They want to actually know if it tasted good, right? That's what it comes down to. Anybody can get you food quickly.
Yeah.
Does it taste like Pizza Hut, or does it actually taste like going? Would you say?
You know, I've tried a bunch of these different things. Like I said, my neighborhood is well served by them, and this was the best tasting, healthiest meal I'd gotten so far.
Let me ask you this: if it was a restaurant, how much would that meal have cost in San Francisco if you left your house and went to a restaurant? Do you think?
No less than that.
Yeah.
I don't think I was paying a premium for getting, multi-part meal.
Actually, I think you're paying half price, right? Because it has a little dessert, a little appetizer, and it's like a 3.
It does. It comes with a little chocolate in a little container thing.
I think it's probably like a 15 with tax and tip and everything. It's probably $15-20.
My coworker Nellie's laughing her head off that I'm telling you what I ate for dinner.
Well, this is one thing.
Nellie, you should come over and come join the show.
Oh, is that Nellie? My friend Nellie?
Yes, Nellie of Party Reporting fame is laughing at me. I'm probably going to be in her next door right now.
Let me tell you something. Nellie and I roll together in different cities around the world. Yeah, Nellie and I had a good time. Perhaps that'll make the column. I don't know. I kind of like Nellie because I feel like Nellie's gossip column at Recode is like the happy, joyful version of the bastards in New York, which we'll not say their name.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
you don't have to hate everything to be interesting.
Exactly. She's a good writer. I like her. Everybody check out Nellie's stuff over at Recode. There's another plug. All right, listen. Imgur, which I'm told is Imgur, but I call it Imgur, and I think everybody else calls it Imgur, but it's Imgur, which you guys probably know because you see it on Reddit all the time. They host all of Reddit's images, Imgur has raised a massive $40 million round. They've been bootstrapped for 5 years, profitable since the beginning, 130 million monthly unique visitors who clicked on over 45 billion pages. The round was led by Andreessen Horowitz with participation from Reddit. What does that even mean? And they're ready to expand more rapidly. I think these folks are like going to kill Reddit because it's like 90% of the value. I don't know why Reddit doesn't host images. What are your thoughts, James Altucher?
Well, I think Reddit only participated in a small way, but they basically need Reddit not to compete with them because I think most of their traffic comes from Reddit. But I think you're going to see
30%, they said.
Yeah, so that's a significant amount. I think you're going to see them focus much more on driving content to their front page, driving traffic to their front page. And I wouldn't be surprised to see more stuff on videos. Like, I'd like to see someone compete with Vine, the 6-second videos.
By the way, if they say only 30% of their traffic is, on Reddit, I bet you 90% of their traffic comes as a referrer from Reddit. So I wonder if that 30% is like that's when people pull it up on Reddit. But I wonder what, like, I think 100% of people who found out the service came to it through Reddit. And I think Reddit is the new way to launch a service. Like South by Southwest used to be the way to launch your service. Now, you want to get like a Reddit subreddit community to latch onto your product, or a Hacker News community, and get your first 1,000 users that way. That's the quick, easy way to do it. Liz?
It's sort of like a lottery. Like, it seems like Imgur launched on Reddit, and they were just lucky that everybody drove it to the top. They got, thousands of visits right away, and then bam, they're a business.
But as when I look at this, I don't think there's any difference between what they're doing and Reddit is doing besides the community aspect. And now they put comments underneath. And I think the commenting section, when you go to the bottom, is cleaner and easier to read. And I think they're basically just sucking the life out of Reddit. I don't get this. Liz, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't see how Reddit doesn't evolve to become more like them or offer something similar. Like, it's just a permalink service, right, that offers free hosting. And then Imgur becomes more like Reddit. And it's just like, it's interesting that they've kind of agreed to keep their separate ways. I saw in the Forbes link that you sent over, Jason, that they said that they know the Reddit team well. They played Settlers of Catan together, which I thought was kind of an adorable quote.
So they play. I think
that's the extent
Imgur,
of their partnership.
I think the Imgur guys are letting them win at Settlers of Catan, and so they don't realize that they're sucking the life out of Reddit. I mean, but I guess Reddit's community is so strong they're not going to go away. This is a huge mistake.
Yeah, but I mean, Imgur is like, they say they've been profitable since the very beginning, right? And there was a lot of interest in them. I know we had reported that Yahoo wanted to buy them. So interesting that Andreessen Horowitz is kind of giving them a crap ton of money to build an independent business, right? Like, it seems like kind of an out there bet.
It's a little weird, and why wouldn't Reddit just host images? I know the answer to that is they don't want the liability of it, but obviously Imgur has figured out a way to not deal with the liability of it. So I don't understand why Reddit doesn't just launch their own little like site called Reddit Images or Rimages or whatever. Reddit Images, some shorthand for it, are images, and just go for it. Why is Reddit not hosting the images, do you think? James, any thoughts?
I think Reddit's just kind of prided itself on the fact that they don't essentially have to do any work. Like, they put up this site, they got a lot of traffic, and how much does it cost to, other than servers, how much does it cost to really like maintain and curate Reddit at this point?
Yeah, and the thing with
well, they hired a bunch of people though. They used to be really small, but now they have. I mean, Reddit needs to do business as well.
Yeah. The interesting thing about this is it reminds me a lot of Tumblr, which was a very image-based service and got very big. And it also, I think, has a big risk and liabilities that it's pretty much used for porn a lot. Although they do a good job of hiding it on the front level, but it's pretty much like the way to serve adult images as well, like Tumblr is. Why would Yahoo buy this? Is it just to get all those unique visitors to make their, be able to say they have more unique visitors in the United States than Google? Liz?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's just been kind of generations of people who are solidly good at image hosting and don't really know what else to do, right? Like, remember when there was PhotoBucket and then MySpace bought PhotoBucket and then Twitter didn't want to host their own images, so they also used someone outside. Like, it's kind of like generation after generation. There's someone who does it cheaply and but doesn't really turn it into their own business.
All right, let's move on. Mozilla CEO has stepped down after a massive controversy. He gave $1,000 to Prop 8. And then this disclosure led to a huge controversy inside the Mozilla community. A lot of people who work for Mozilla, which makes the Firefox browser, as you know, were kind of pissed off that he was put in this position as CEO. And I'm sure there's a lot of gay people who work at Mozilla. And then OkCupid did some really sort of, as people sort of thought this was either really awesome or really pandering, but OkCupid put up a letter like, hey, if you're using Firefox, like they intercepted the Firefox traffic and said, stop using Firefox, go use Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Opera, which some people thought was just a PR move, but I don't think so. If it was, it's kind of a dumb one. Eventually he resigns, but it turns out he's a real kind of a brilliant guy. This Brendan Eich is how you pronounce it, I think. Do you know how you pronounce it, Liz? Ike. So Brendan Ike. So what do you think of all this, Liz?
Well, I think that it's crazy how fast this all moved, right? And I do think that it's an example of an internet witch hunt on Brendan Ike. But I think that the reality is that Mozilla is an organization that's different than a lot of other companies. They are all about their values. They're all about their volunteers. And like, if you lose the trust of people around an organization like that, it's not going to work. And I don't think that they handled the situation particularly well, like him coming out and doing interviews where he basically said, I don't want to talk about my personal opinions, was great. But I don't think that that was the real problem. The real problem was that he, he lands on the wrong side of history. And 6 years ago, it was okay to be pro Proposition 8, but it's not anymore. And so he has to live in today's reality.
Yeah. Now, do you think if he had said, listen, I made this contribution, I'm a religious guy, my belief was this, but I've changed my belief, and I actually regret doing that, and I really would like to stay on as a CEO of Firefox, but, if as CEO of Mozilla and really help and maybe work on this and help the Prop 8 sort of...
Well, clearly other people have had success doing that, right? Like that was Barack Obama's position, and he's not leading Mozilla. He has a slightly different job.
Yeah.
But he said, I've changed my mind, and people accepted that. Some people didn't, obviously.
I have a question. So I disagree with him, but it seemed like the First Amendment should protect him from losing his job or being, essentially, this is another example of outrage porn, destroying someone's life for really something that has nothing to do with his job. So again, you could disagree with him, agree with him. It had nothing to do with his job, and purely.
Well, that's where I disagree with you, James, though,
porn.
because his job is different than running a regular company. Like Mozilla is specifically like this
open source community
coalition of people.
Yeah, it's a
but
big
what does
movement.
that have to do with what? Like his coworkers didn't even know his opinion after 10 years. So clearly, it hasn't affected the running of his company at this point until now.
What I would say is, imagine he was pro-segregation, and this was, another era, would be saying like, hey, listen, he can run a restaurant chain, and he just doesn't like black people and doesn't think black people should be on the same bus or use the same water fountains or the same counter. But that's outside of work. It's cool. It's outside of work. It's just his First Amendment opinion. I mean, I think that's how history is going to look at this. I don't know what you think, Liz. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's crazy that he lost his job in the span of 2 weeks, but I think you're absolutely right. Like, history is changing much more quickly than it was. It might have taken a decade for segregation views to go out of favor. Now, like, it's really changed within the last 6 years since Prop 8 passed with the majority. Like, he used to be in the majority opinion in California, not in San Francisco, but in California, and now that is no longer the case. Not to say that this issue is solved by any means. Like, it's still quite important to people, but the momentum is going away from his position.
Yeah. So now, do we go and find everybody who's donated to Prop 8 and, just...
Well, actually, I just saw that. Nate Silver just posted an article looking at other donations in Silicon Valley, though, as normal, people who... he didn't count San Francisco, right. Which I think would be important to look at. He said something like along the lines of, I think... now I just looked at the article, but it was low digit percentage. It was like 96% of Google donations were anti-Prop 8. It was slightly less so at Apple, but really, the tech industry has in general been vocal in their support of gay marriage. You saw all those it gets better videos in support of young gay rights, but like also just in terms of gay marriage, there's been a lot of donations from the companies themselves. Like this is an issue that tech has in some sense chosen sides on. But yeah, I mean, I don't deny James's point that this was not his job description.
And what do you think?
Nobody there even knew what his beliefs were. And like you said, maybe these are religious beliefs. It's not like segregation. It's, for all we know, it could be some religious belief he has. We don't know. I
think people fall back on their religious beliefs to put down women and black people as well, just for the record, James, or to keep down those groups. So. See, I think religion's kind of a false protection against like believing in anything bigoted. So,
Okay,
anyway.
but like, are we going to start firing then the 4% at Google, or is the next issue going to be?
That's my question. What do you? I mean,
pro-choice.
I think what's going to actually, my prediction is they're going to find anybody who doesn't have this who has support. I think that's actually going to happen. I think they're going to find anybody who hasn't supported it. Once they find it out, they're going to pin them up against the wall and say, "Listen. Change your opinion, say you regret this, or you're going to be next in line." And by the way, that's how they got segregation abolished. is because they went to people one after the other and they put their feet to the coals and said, listen, if you want to be on the wrong side of history, we're going to out you and we're going to put the screws to you. Now, it's vicious and it's hard, and I feel bad for the guy and his family, but I feel worse for gay teens who are killing themselves or being cyberbullied. I mean, that's a much worse fate than, somebody feeling that religiously.
I agree, but we have to be careful not to conflate his $1,000 donation to a teen killing himself. Like, they're not the same thing, and one was not encouraging the other.
I actually disagree 100%, James. I think it's exactly correlated, because I think when these religious nutcases on the right start coming out there and saying it's the devil and you have to be cured and this is no way to live, that's what puts in these young kids' minds like, there's something wrong with me because I want to kiss a boy or a girl, and then they jump off a fucking bridge.
But I don't
correct.
think he said that.
It's exactly
I don't think he said that, though.
I know, but the point is, it is exactly correlated that the religious people making these kids feel guilty is, I believe, it makes it okay in a free-for-all for everybody in the South or in some religious school to laugh at them. And you know what? I went to an all-boys Catholic school, and they tortured the gay kids in that school. And I think back about it, I probably did it too, and I feel terrible about it. Those poor kids suffered in the 80s and 90s, and I think there's kids out there suffering right now.
I agree. You're definitely right. I just get a little nervous when outrage porn, fires its breath on the internet, and once again a guy loses his job or some family is turned upside down or whatever.
I have a solution.
Of the issue.
I have a solution. I'm going to lay down, as the chairman of the interwebs, a solution to all this. There is a 10-day outreach and cooling off period whenever this happens from now on, where the person gets to sit down with the constituents and has a chance to hear out the other side and change their position before they're railroaded and forced out of town. In other words, if somebody did this or they had some other belief and we think they're a good person, we'll sit down with them, and whoever sits down with them, where the contingents are, and says, listen, if you want to change your opinion, we will then support you publicly in the change of your opinion, as opposed to trying to get you fired. What do you think of that idea, Liz?
Well, so I was just looking up so there's obviously prominent technology leaders who are also Republicans. For instance, Meg Whitman, CEO of HP, ran for governor as a Republican. And I actually just Googled her position on gay marriage, and turns out that she announced February 26th that she's changed her position and she is now pro-gay marriage.
Yeah, that was after your boss, Kara Swisher, confronted her at a party recently.
I did not know that was the antecedent, but
you never didn't hear that story?
I think that this is a shift that's happening, and I think that I would be interested to see if there is a ripple effect from the Brett Ike thing, because I do think Mozilla is a different sort of organization. I don't know if it will extend to other people, but I mean, Meg Whitman saw this coming.
All right. I'm all worked up now. I got to take a break. I get all worked up about this issue because honestly, I carry a lot of guilt about it, because I remember, I can visualize in like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, like these poor kids. I remember them. I got to reach out to them and tell them I'm sorry that we did this, and like people would just make fun of them. They would call them the F word, and people made fun of the gay teachers at Severian High School, the all-boys Catholic school. We had brothers there, and like we knew a third of the brothers were gay, and people made fun of the teachers for being gay. It's just very weird. Like, it should just all have been accepted, and they should have come out of the closet and everything. Anyway, listen. Desk.com is an awesome service that we're using to get a 360. It's hard to do a segue. A 360-degree view of our customers with a universal inbox that Desk.com provides. As you know, people are very vocal when they feel something about your product. They're going to complain about it, as we just saw in the previous story. People are vocal, and it could be an issue like that. It could be just something like the system's crashing, or I got billed wrong, or somebody was rude to me, when I got on JetBlue or something, right? There's all these kind of customer support issues. There's big issues, and people are wildly vocal, and they're powerful now. And you need to reach out to those people in real time and make sure that their needs are addressed. That's what customer service is about. It's a very refined process now, and it's a very distributed process. You get emails, you get tweets, you get Facebook, LinkedIn. I mean, people are complaining everywhere about everything. And that's what Desk.com solves for us, because we use it here for all of our events and all of our products. Anytime a complaint or a concern or an idea comes in, I know that somebody has gotten back to the person with one of the templates, like, hey, here's how we handle this kind of I need to get a refund, or I felt I didn't get my money's worth here, or I would like, this to happen at the launch festival. It's a really, really great service. It's only $3 per month. Head over to desk.com/twist, desk.com/twist, and the advanced analytics that you have your agents, if you have customer service agents. If you don't have customer service agents, and you sort of distribute that with like the receptionist and somebody from marketing and PR or a product person, that's okay too, because you can just sort of spread the work out between those people. You get all this great analytics that helps you improve the process. So go to desk.com/twist, desk.com/twist, and go ahead and thank @desk on the Twitter. All right, listen, I'm all worked up now. This happens to me like 1 out of every 5 shows. Let's do.
Glad we inspired you.
I don't know. I mean, listen, and I wasn't, by the way, James, I wasn't like wailing into you about it. I mean, I understand your point that these are human beings on either side of the equation, but do you not think that, I mean, I guess you did agree with me, but I
agree with you on the issue. I'm just against outrage porn. So I hate when any decision is made because suddenly the mob goes on fire.
Like that woman who made the AIDS tweet going to the IAC PR manager. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that specific case, like Justine Sacco.
Yeah.
But like, here's just in general, I see it happen. Look, I see it happen to you, Jason, where suddenly you'll say something and like for a week you've got to deal with the haters trying to misunderstand what you said.
Yeah.
It happens every day to people, and then this is an extreme case, but I just hate it when that happens.
Yeah. I agree. And there's got to be some cooling off period. Or it seems like people are also the witch hunts seem to be processed very quickly. I saw James Franco was, trying to pick up a young girl or something on Instagram. And then I saw on inside.com/top news that he apologized this morning. Like this story I saw yesterday. And then today he apologized on the Regis and Kelly show, whatever they call it, Kelly and whoever. Seem to process this stuff very quick. Okay, let's go. There's 3 launches for the week. Let's do our Bing launch of the week. Okay, we have 3 launches. You guys know the rules. I'll describe them. We'll look at some clips, and then you'll pick and tell me why you think it's important or not. Amazon released the Amazon Fire TV streaming box for $99. It integrates with Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc. Obviously does not support iTunes or anything like that because Apple is a closed ecosystem. The remote includes voice search. It's the same price as the Apple TV or the Roku, and they want to have it double as a gaming console. The specs were pretty amazing on this box. Let's see the video.
This is Amazon Fire TV, Amazon's brand new streaming media player. This tiny box lets you stream a huge amount of entertainment right to your TV. It's the easiest way to watch Netflix, Amazon Instant Video, Hulu Plus, and so much more.
I'm telling you, this is where I belong.
Plus, it's the only streaming media player with voice search, so the Amazon Fire TV remote lets you access everything you love with just the sound of your voice.
Silver Linings Playbook.
Let's start with the setup. It could
Okay,
be
very good,
easier.
very good, very good.
Take Fire TV.
All right, next up is the Homerun is the eBay for real estate from Coastal Ventures VC Keith Rabois, and it's preparing to launch. Rabois, right, Rabois.
I'm like the pronunciation police today.
No, it's great. I have a dyslexia. Literally, I have a slight version of dyslexia. It's more than tools like Zillow and Trulia. The goal is to allow users to buy and sell homes completely online. Wow. Rabois says real estate is the largest part of the economy unaffected by the internet. Former Square COO who got ran out of town because of a lawsuit or harassment lawsuit, which I don't know the outcome of yet, and a former PayPal exec, was on the boards of Yelp and Zoom at the time of their IPOs. Here's an image. Okay. Oh, that's a secret image. That's interesting. So now we're breaking stories. This is Keith. Just ask me. That is hysterical. Next up is low-cost, good-sounding hearing aid for just $199 on Indiegogo, which has been plagued with, I think, bad product launches or fake product launches or quackery. There's a Pando Daily story about that. Maybe you can pull that up, Gina. It's raised $225, $65,000 was the goal. Fits in here, improves sound quality significantly, discreet, size and weight of a kidney bean. Let's see the clip.
Been inventing and developing advanced hearing devices in Silicon Valley for over 20 years. Unfortunately, the advanced products we have developed in the past simply never reach the majority of people who need them. So we started iHear Medical to remove the barriers preventing people from getting high-quality hearing devices.
And here's how we did this. We invented a highly miniaturized hearing device that fits discreetly inside the ear canal. The modular design allows the user to customize the fit in less than a minute. The iHear device is virtually invisible, waterproof, and has no impact on a daily lifestyle.
Secondly, we invented a USB device that enables you to test your hearing ability at home and also to electronically calibrate the hearing device according to your hearing loss and preference.
Thirdly, we developed...
All right, there you go. We had three very interesting products. Amazon Fire TV, eBay for real estate, which you didn't get to see, and low-cost, good-sounding hearing aids for just $199. I'll start with you, Liz. Which one of these, walk me through each one. You know how the game works. Walk me through each one, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, but don't tell me which one's your favorite yet.
Okay, so Amazon. I think voice search for TV is so much better than that stupid like scrolling around on your little remote, which doesn't have any buttons, but then the buttons on your TV, so it really doesn't improve the situation at all. Yep. I don't see that Amazon would be the only one to do that for very long. They have, Apple, Google have long voice search projects for their other products. I think they should bring them into their TV as well. So kudos to Amazon for doing that before they did.
Agreed.
And sorry, second was
Keith's
Homerun. Oh,
Homerun.
Well, this isn't launched yet, so I think it's a little bit too early to say. I recently covered Google Capital put $50 million into a real estate site called auction.com, which is an online marketplace for foreclosed houses and commercial real estate. And for generally, I think professional investors, people who buy and sell and trade. And that has done really well. Let me see, I just pulled up. They've done $20 billion worth of transactions in 4 years. And so I can imagine bringing that kind of disruption to consumer buying of houses could be pretty interesting and has a lot of potential. But I mean, this is like the official announcement of this was through a secret post, so let's not call it a launch yet.
This is what you're up against. This is your new competition.
I love it, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it was actually, I read through that thread, and it's like this kind of hilarious insider discussion where everyone's clearly insiders, but no one really knows who anyone is, discussing their relationship with Keith and what he's doing and where the name came from and who bought the domain, and like it was just kind of an amazing little back channel. I guess it's all what you guys talk about around the in the men's room that I don't have access to. I would never. Well,
I pretend I'm Walt Mossberg on Secret. I play the role of Walt Mossberg, so I just say this is Walt. Yeah. This is Walt, and this is what I think of the product.
The more you do that, the less you can trust. Keith for boy doing his product rounds there.
Exactly.
I think the hearing aid sounds really cool. Pun intended, I guess. And I don't know a ton about that market, but clearly it's resonating if they've raised what was that, 5 times their goal.
Yeah.
And so I think that sounds pretty promising. Again, not out yet, but I guess I would put my bet with them, given that.
All right, so that's your number one.
Amazon. Yeah, I don't know if it's possible for you to queue this up, but Recode actually launched a product yesterday that you should include in your competition.
Oh, give the URL
serious
to Gina in the chat room, and then we'll pull it up in a second. Okay, take me through James Altucher, your thoughts on each one. Start from the bottom up with the hearing aid. iHear. All right, we lost. Go ahead.
The hearing aid sounds great because it's cheap and small. And on the other hand, this is kind of a death spiral to the ground. Anybody could start making them cheaper and smaller. It's not going to be that difficult. So hearing aids are going to be a commodity is the negative side. With Keith's business, we just don't know the details. He says in a few clicks you're going to be able to buy and sell a house. I don't quite understand how you get through all the sort of due diligence involved in buying a house. So I think we have to wait and see what happens there. He says it's for people who are living in their house, so I'm not sure this applies to foreclosed properties. With the Amazon thing, the negative is that Apple's got this head start and they'll get into gaming and speech and so on. The positive is, and this is an enormous positive, this is a Trojan horse for Amazon Studios content. So Amazon's pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into original content that no one is yet watching. and this is going to give them a device to start watching it. So I actually, the Amazon Fire is my favorite product on this.
All right, so very interesting. I think the iHear product is really clever, and I wonder, why a company that's been doing it for 20 years chose Indiegogo or Kickstarter to do this. I think it says something about the fact that it's a way to build excitement about products that maybe weren't previously that exciting. But boy, is that interesting that you can diagnose yourself at home. That, to me, is really brilliant because I'm going through some health issues myself right now, and this diagnosing yourself at home, it turns out I'm insulin resistant or something. So I'm basically getting kits now. I went to a proper doctor and I got my blood work, but I'm going to start doing my own blood work on a regular basis just to track it. And I'm putting all this into like a folder and sharing it with 3 different doctors to sort of try to optimize and try to stick around so I could do 5,000 shows. So I really love this idea that you're putting it in the hands of consumers and they start doing some diagnostics and they spend a little more time trying to understand their bodies. Now, the Homerun. I'm also going through this right now. Well, by the way, I also have hearing loss in a year, so I kind of like the hearing loss thing for that reason. Now, Homerun, I'm selling my house here in L.A. I love this idea, and I've been fascinating with Redfin, which takes out the huge hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars that it costs for brokers to sell your house. I think that the secret to this sauce, based on what you were saying, James, is I think they're going to have some kind of role in the stage of inspecting homes. Because this is a big issue with homes. Like you buy the home, you make an agreement, then you inspect it, then you renegotiate the deal. Unless you're in San Francisco where you buy it and you have no ability to do that. So I think what they're going to do is I would do a double-blind, accredited Homerun house inspection so you can feel much safer. Because that's what people are very concerned about is buying a lemon. So I think if Homerun provided the home inspections and they did it like double blind and then compared the notes and redlined them, and then the charge for that was taken up by the homeowner and half by the person who eventually bought it, that would be super amazing. And that only costs like $500 to $1,000 to have a house done, and that would make it more fluid. So I have a feeling, that's just my gut tells me, and I don't have inside information. Now the Amazon Fire TV, congratulations, you caught up to Apple, and you leveled them a little bit with that super clever, I have that same problem Liz pointed out, which I'm trying to type in Game of Thrones. And it's like, oh my God, why do I have to type in Game of Thrones and move the arrow around? Apple is known for making beautiful products, but that interface on Apple TV is horrid. Why don't they just give you some better way of doing it? And why they have Siri, so it's just embarrassing for them. They must be. The only explanation I think, Liz, is that they're holding voice automation for when they launch the actual 4K television later this year. What do you think?
Sure.
She said, sure. Okay, they have it. I now have confirmation. So I am going to pick Homerun because even though it's not a proper launch, I feel like he's explained it enough and he's got a world-class domain, so this is going to happen. And I think it could unlock huge potential if they can, just this Uberification, taking out steps, making things more delightful and fast, urban spooning, or what's the name of that company that served the food? Spoon Runner? Something Spoon? I don't know.
Spoon Rocket?
Spoon Rock, yeah, Rocket Spoon, Spoon Rocket, whatever. So anyway, there you go, folks. We have a three-way, a split decision on what the startup of the month is, thanks to our friends at Bing. Bing, bing, bing. And here you go. Here's a bunch of Abrams tanks. Why do we do tanks? We should do something else. Kindle Fire, Amazon Fire. How about that? Great job, Bing. There's a fire in the Amazon, and then there's the actual fire. Very good. All right, next up. Rumor is that Yahoo is trying to acquire a video network. Wall Street Journal reporting that they're in talks to buy the
Well, Recode reported it first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Recode reported. Oh, where's the Recode product launch? Let me see that Recode product launch. The next thing.
Oh, I sent it to you guys. Can you play
here we
it?
go. Shh.
Hi, I'm Walt Mossberg, and as many of you know, I've been reviewing tech products for over 20 years, from the Newton message pad to Windows 95 to the mobile revolution of the iPhone and Android. Tonight, I'm prepared to show you how it's done. I'm thrilled to introduce to you the Rewatch.
The really genius part was getting other electronics companies to first release their own smartwatches that were both butt ugly and didn't do anything useful.
It's got Bluetooth 7.0. Like, it's so low energy, it's practically dead. You may not realize this, but just by coming to this party, you've already backed the rewatch on Kickstarter. This video is your reward. The watch is going to cost extra. As with all crowdfunded projects, there's no guarantee that this will ever actually happen.
I pretty much pooped my pants when I saw this thing. It's my favorite smartwatch already. I already favorited it. Fave!
You can cut it, Jason. It's 4 minutes long.
Wow. It's pretty good, though. But Gina, fast forward it to what the punchline is, obviously. But did you guys actually have the watch there? Did you make a watch?
No, so yeah,
it's a good April Fool's.
We're aware that we're three days late for April Fool's, but last night was our launch party for Recode, so we made it as kind of like a way to introduce the staff that did not involve people awkwardly standing and waving and 10 minutes of reading people's names off. So
clever.
We posted that on our site today if you want to check it out.
Very good, very good. I'll tweet it out for you.
We're not making a watch.
Okay, very good.
I mean, we are, but we're not.
Okay, so let's talk about this Yahoo story that Wall Street Journal picked up from Recode. Obviously, there was that story earlier that Yahoo is launching a YouTube competitor, which I think a lot of people knew, but good on Yahoo, good on Recode for getting confirmation of that. And what is this NDN Networks? I don't even know what it is. They're potentially paying $300 million for it. Obviously, the French government stopped them from buying Dailymotion last year. Yes, you read that right. The French government making Ubers wait 10 minutes to pick you up and blocking the sale of startups. Way to go, France. So, Liz, do you know anything about this NDN network? What is it?
I don't know a ton about it. I mean, I think that it would be hard to launch a YouTube now, given that people have been trying for now like 9 years and YouTube's still winning. But YouTube is also figuring out what they're going to do around premium content, so maybe there's your opportunity.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that YouTube has a couple, I mean, according to the article, giving people traffic and better CPMs is a pretty easy way to lure away the top stars because they're getting terrible CPMs and there's no traffic or promotion given to you from YouTube. YouTube doesn't give you any traffic. You're on your own. That was the big complaint from partners, including myself. But Yahoo has a homepage that's filled with content that they're more than willing to send to you. So, boy, this could be a huge win. What do you think the chances are, James, that Yahoo makes a run at YouTube?
For, let's call it NDN or Yahoo Video, what MySpace did for YouTube. So MySpace basically blew up YouTube. And, I think Tumblr needs their YouTube, and that's what Yahoo's been looking for. So NDN, which none of us have ever used, but supposedly they're the 4th largest in the world, NDN gets picked up for a cheap price and becomes Tumblr's YouTube.
Yeah, it's amazing how there are these weird networks out there. I guess they do some kind of video distribution. But yeah, nobody's ever heard of this company. They must have some big video library, 100,000 videos a month, 800 premium providers, and then I guess trusted publishers take that content and republish it. It's like some sort of AP or Newswire, but 146,000. See, this is what I think Marissa's really good at is if she buys a company like this, she gets to take that 146 million unique visitors and put that towards their count. So this is the classic thing that people did during the web bubble, which is buy a bunch of properties that had a lot of uniques and be able to say we're number one. And Yahoo was that company that did that. So this is the old Yahoo playbook, which is buy Tumblr's uniques, maybe buy Imgur's uniques, maybe buy NDN's uniques, and then get to count them towards your thing and have put out great press releases. Samsung is unlocking the power of graphene. Am I pronouncing that right, Producer Gina? Graphene is the thinnest material known. Also good for conducting electricity and heat. Samsung scientists say they have found a way to synthesize it. Could be for bendable displays, curved screens, and super batteries. James, what are these curved screens and bendable stuff important? Why do people keep talking about them? It seems incredibly stupid to me. Why would I want my phone to bend?
I think in the long run it's important because imagine if you could fold your phone in half and put it in your pocket, then you could have, Samsung loves those large size phones, they can make it even larger and now you can make it smaller. But graphene, the reason it hasn't been used before is because it rusts incredibly easy and falls apart. So it's very expensive to make graphene non-rustable. So I'm going to be just curious about the price point on these phones.
Yeah, what do you think, Liz? Any thoughts on this?
Oh, I think it sounds cool and promising, but not. Yeah, I'm interested to check it out.
Yeah, and what do we think about this the Google iWatch project, because we have Google releasing that iWatch stuff and Apple's iWatch. Does anybody have any sort of updates on Apple's smartwatch or Google's or predictions about where that's going this year? Because it seems like this is the year after Samsung put out the sort of prototypey watch and Qualcomm did, and we've had the Pebble twice. What do we think we're going to see later this year, James?
I'm not sure, really. You know, I haven't been impressed by wearable computing yet. And, you know, I feel the Google glasses have been a dismal failure. So, I don't know. Watches I thought were dead on arrival, so we'll see.
Yeah.
One of the Motorola watch looks potentially interesting, though. It's so it actually has the round face. It doesn't look terrible, though I haven't seen it in action yet.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where the watch thing goes, because there was just a study that came out. It was on the launch ticker, actually, launch.co, that the wearable space, like 2 out of 3 people who buy a wearable or something don't wind up using it 6 months later. None of these wearables seem to be very wearable. I bought Google Glass. I never took it out of the office.
Google Glasses was awful. I got one. It's awful.
Yeah. See, and everybody said, even Robert Scoble's kind of like, you know what? It's kind of awful. I tried it. I forced myself to use it for months as an early adopter, and now he's kind of like out. Is it going to? I think it's going to take Apple to get this right. You think Apple's going to get it right, Liz?
Yeah, I want to see Apple's watch for sure. I don't think they're going to do a face computer anytime soon. But, you know, by the time Apple gets around to doing the face computer, maybe Google will be doing the brain implant or the contact lens. So that'll be a little bit less offensive to people in some ways and much more offensive in other ways.
Yeah, what do you guys think of that woman who is, people kind of think she's a kook, who got in the fight with her neighbors, but in a bar, I guess, in San Francisco. She got chased out by somebody saying, you've ruined San Francisco, and she may have been recording them or maybe not, and she changed her story. People must be buzzing about that in San Francisco, right, Liz?
You know, it's funny because Google tried this whole different strategy. They had this Explorer program. They send out Google Glass to people who are willing to pay $1,500 and evangelize it. Turns out people who are willing to pay $1,500 and evangelize it, like, not all of them are going to be the people you want to be the spokesperson for an unreleased product. And I definitely don't think that this woman is super credible, as everything that's come out about this incident has made her look kind of like the one who actually provoked it, who was filming people, who was picking fights, who was throwing punches, all like, I think she's actually kind of admitted all of this. So the fact that she was calling it a hate crime against Google Glass is like, I mean, it just shows you, like, is that really who you want your brand ambassador to be? No, like, you know, Google Glass has more issues than just their public brand, according to this lady, but it's not helping.
I just love the fact that they've been totally hijacked by this woman who's got restraining orders or something, has gotten a physical altercation. I mean, listen, I just find it entertaining that now the whole thing has been co-opted by this nutcase, or apparent nutcase that people say is like provoking these things. But James, any truth to the fact that you are actually paying for the lobby against Google Glass wearers, and will you resign your position, unpaid position as a Business Insider contributor, based upon that $1,000 donation to ban people from wearing Google Glass in San Francisco and New York?
Actually would hurt after wearing Google glasses, so that's why I didn't like them.
Yeah. All right, listen, this has been an amazing program. Oh, yeah, here's the video on my computer of, I guess maybe this is just like some stock footage of her, but that's the place, I guess, where she got in the altercation. How's the tension, Liz, in San Francisco, right? We talked about this on the program before. Google buses getting attacked and stuff like that. Now this. What's the tension? Because I'm going to be up there in the fall. What's the tension like up there for, like, are people just absolutely grabbing?
Yeah, you're going to run away. Everyone's going to hate you, and you're going to run back to L.A.
No. Are they chasing people with Google sweaters down the street?
Yes, you should definitely wear a lot of Google branded stuff. That'll make people like you. No, I mean, it is ratcheted up at this moment, and that particular bar is not a place where you want to go bragging that you're, you arrived on the Google bus and you are wearing a $1,500 face computer. But I had one interesting theory, which is that what this all comes back to is The Social Network, the movie, because that was what made it seem cool to be an entrepreneur and be like Mark Zuckerberg and, you know, to hell with the man and to hell with the twin rower patrician Harvard dudes who commissioned you do your project because you can make it on your own by being an asshole. So I guess that brought a lot of people to San Francisco who kind of suck. And it turned the role of the tech underdog into the tech overlord, and everybody hates an overlord. So we're definitely having some change going on. I'm saying this all kind of joking, but as someone who grew up in the Bay Area, I don't think that it's ever been the way it is right now, because I think that tech folks are now becoming kind of like well, they're just like quite established in their positions of wealth, and it's not great for people who are. I'm sorry, I have a 2:00 appointment. I have to pretty soon.
Yep.
I'll stop there instead of rambling. Go ahead.
All right. Anyway, yeah, Diet Coke has an ad campaign that's pretty laughable.
Apparently they have that in New York too. It's really stupid.
It's really bad. Fire the person who made that stupid ad campaign. My God. All right, listen, amazing show. Thank you, Liz Gaines from Recode. Everybody follow Liz Gaines, 2 N's, on Twitter, and James Altucher, J Altucher, on Twitter. Everybody check out recode.net. Any plugs, Liz, before you go?
Oh, you should buy the rewatch. It's the best wearable ever.
I agree. I'm back-ordered on the Indiegogo campaign. Everybody also follow... Yeah. Okay. Very good. And James, any plugs? You got any books coming out? You were supposed to be speaking at a conference this week, James.
Yeah. No, I couldn't. I had family stuff to do.
Oh, no problem.
So
I know because my wife took out her phone and was like, "I'm going to this conference for the weekend. Do you know anybody?" I'm like, "Yeah, the guy James I know." She's like, "Oh, that's the guy who canceled."
Yes, I was the one who canceled. But she could still buy my book, Choose Yourself. And then in July, I have another book coming out, The Power of No.
Okay, The Power of No and Choose Yourself. Go check it out. James is a great writer and a great thinker. Hey, thanks again, Bing, Wistia, and Desk. Everybody follow at Bing, at Wistia, and at Desk, and give them a little love on your Twitter handle. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you to Brandis, producer Gina, Andrew on the launch ticker, Jade, Emily, Bryce, everybody on the team, Demont, Luke, Brandon. Great job, everybody. And I will see you at the RAIN conference in Vegas on Sunday, where I'll be giving the keynote at like noon or something. Booking me for a keynote at noon is, well, that's probably okay, but I might be playing cards until noon. All right, we'll see you all next time on This Week in Startups. Bye-bye.